This is the 2011 AP Macro FRQ number 1. Shows that the economy is currently in a recession, and we need to label and draw the Phillips curve graph. So that's what I'm going to start off with letter A here. So we've got inflation rate here and unemployment on the x-axis. And the long-run Phillips curve is going to be vertical, and a downward sloping short-run Phillips curve. Since we're in a recession, unemployment is going to be higher than normal, so we're going to put, you can see unemployment's on this axis, we're going to put the A over there. And that takes us through letter A. Now letter B, correctly label graph of the aggregate demand, aggregate supply curve in a recession. So we'll do that. Aggregate demand, aggregate supply is going to have GDP real on the x-axis and price level on the y-axis. This is the short run aggregate supply, aggregate demand, and I'm going to put the long run aggregate supply to the right here because we're in a recession. Right now that's equivalent to that point A right there. And we'll label the long run output as YF, label this as YE, and this is going to be price level E. That takes care of letter B. Now it says to balance the federal budget, suppose the government decides to raise income taxes while maintaining the current level of government spending. On the graph drawn in part B, show the effect of the increase in taxes. Label the new equilibrium output and price levels Y2 and PL2 respectively. Now this is a bad idea because you're not going to be increasing government spending at all, but you're going to be increasing income taxes, which means people have less money to consume so you're going to see aggregate demand decrease and shift to the left here, like that. And our new equilibrium is going to be here, and you can see that we're making things worse. Price level is going to go down, output is going to go down, and that's where we're at. Now letter D. It says assume that the Federal Reserve uses monetary policy to stimulate the economy. So what open market operation would they implement? For letter D here, number 1, they would buy bonds. For the second part, we need to draw a correctly labeled graph of the money market. And so we've got the nominal interest rate here, quantity of money here, a vertical money supply, and a downward sloping demand curve. And because they're buying bonds, it's going to increase the money supply. That shifts it to the right. The interest rate then will drop from here to here. All right. And then the third part, what will be the impact of the policy on the price level, and explain. Well, what's going to happen is the interest rates are going down, so the price level is going to end up increasing. The reason why the price level increases is because with lower interest rates, interest-sensitive spending is going to increase and aggregate demand will shift to the right. And if you look at aggregate demand here, and you see the aggregate demand 2, the aggregate demand 1, as things go to the right, the price level is definitely going to be increasing. And letter E. So assume that the government and the Federal Reserve take no policy action. What will happen in the long run to the short run aggregate supply curve? So if we're over here, whether we're talking about this spot or this spot, eventually what's going to happen if no policy action is taken is that the short run aggregate supply curve will shift to the right or increase. And the reason why is because of lower wages and input costs. And then the second part of that one, what will happen to the natural rate of unemployment, which is basically the same thing as the long run aggregate supply curve here. That's not going to change at all. There's nothing that's indicating that there's any change in investment spending. and nothing specifically saying that that's going to be changing. So no change on that one. And that's all for 2011 AP Macro FRQ 1.